Hi, my name is Helen. I'm 16, and all my life I've dreamed of being rich. I thought money solves all problems. If you have a lot of money, you can't help but be happy. At recess, my best friend Bree and I were always glued to our phones watching rich bloggers. I want to be like them, but then I would go home and come back down to earth. My dad and I lived in a small apartment. Our kitchen and living room were combined. Dad was always sitting at the table looking miserable. Corporations have replaced humans with robots and don't need ordinary workers anymore. I knew all his speeches by heart. They didn't help him get a job, and we barely made ends meet. That's why I worked part-time as a children's entertainer at a mall. I don't even remember how it started, but in a couple of years, I'd become a real pro. I knew how to distract kids, calm them down, and make them laugh. One day, there was a children's party at the mall. I was running around with small kids when I saw a guy and his parents walk in. It was obvious they were rich. "Sam, take a picture with the clowns. We need to show everyone that we are ordinary people who go to the mall like everyone else." But Sam, that was the guy's name, threw such a massive fit and made everyone's ears ring. "I'm not going to demean myself like that. I'm not a little kid." He pushed the photographer away and continued to yell. Of course, everyone started filming him. Sam's parents were panicking as he kept running around and screaming like someone was making him perform on stage in his underpants. I don't know why, but I came over and started to clown around and entertain the guy like I did with moody children. And then, silence. He froze and stared at me with such shock that I almost burst out laughing. At least that put an end to his temper tantrum. "Oh, thank you so much. You're a lifesaver." He doesn't listen to us anymore. They left, and I didn't think much of that incident. It had nothing to do with me. However, a day later, a man in a suit came to our house. "Helen, the entertainment agency gave me your address." It turned out that he worked for Sam's parents. The man begged me to come and talk some sense into Sam, who was losing it again. His parents had an important dinner coming up, but Sam locked himself in his room and kept shouting, "I'm not going to have dinner with those boring old geezers." His parents didn't know what to do. That's why they found me and offered me a tidy sum if I managed to handle Sam. I came to their mansion and was blown away by the sheer size of it. But I didn't have much time to admire it because Sam was running around his room in dinosaur pajamas, screaming and throwing pillows. At that moment, he looked like a moody 5-year-old rather than a rich teenager. At first, I didn't know what to do, but then I turned on my kids' entertainer magic. "I bet you wouldn't be able to sit through the dinner and stay quiet." "What? Let's make a bet. Whoever speaks first is a booger." I don't know why, but he loved the idea. His parents decided to bring me along to the business dinner. Sam and I spent all evening throwing glances at each other, staying silent and trying to get each other to talk. After the dinner, Sam's parents were beaming with happiness. I was about to leave when Bree called me. "Hey, I'm a bit busy." "Gotcha, you've lost. Helen is a booger." Ugh, so childish. But Sam's parents surprised me yet again. "Helen, we want to offer you a job as Sam's personal assistant." What? Be his nanny. They immediately added that they would pay me exceptionally well, and I agreed. The truth is, the first few days were hell. Sam was acting like a child and clearly enjoyed driving me crazy. He would deliberately spill the juice and make me clean it up or yell that he was bored. I wanted to give up, but stayed for the money. One day, we went to the reception at the mayor's office. Sam suddenly decided to put on a show. He grabbed a spoon and started to clink glasses with it, demanding attention. "What are you doing? You're not my mother." I barely managed to calm him down. A couple of days after that, Sam was supposed to make a speech on stage at an important event at school. "Helen, make sure everything goes smoothly." Everything was going well at first, but 5 minutes before Sam was supposed to go on stage, he burst into tears. "I'll forget my words. I'll embarrass myself. Everyone will laugh at me." At first, I froze. I realized that if he didn't go on stage, all would be lost. "Sam, listen. I'll be in the wings, and I'll help you if you forget your words. All you need to do is look at me." It worked! Whenever he stumbled, I would gesture from behind the curtain to prompt him. When Sam finished, the audience even applauded him. His parents beamed like he had just won the Nobel Prize. Over time, I learned how to best handle Sam. All those years of working with moody kids at the mall came in handy. Sam's parents noticed it and raised my salary. Then they got another idea. "Helen, transfer to Sam's school. He needs you close." They bought me a new phone, a bunch of fancy clothes, and they said they'd pay for everything. I agreed. That's how I entered their world. A private pool, a home gym, restaurant food every day. I felt rich for the first time ever, and I liked it. I was finally living the life I dreamed of when I watched bloggers' videos with Bree. When I came home in the evenings, I saw something completely different. Once, Dad was asleep when I came back. An old board game and canned beans were on the table. I realized that it was Thursday. We always played board games and had beans on Thursday, but I forgot and missed it. I'd been too busy eating shrimp tempura in Sam's hot tub instead. As I looked at Dad had, I felt sorry for him, but I couldn't be in two places at once. Meanwhile, I couldn't stop wondering why Sam was the way he was. 16, but acting like a little kid. And then I started noticing that his parents weren't actually involved in his life. They were either busy working or bribed him with gifts. It was easier for them to hire someone than to talk to their own son. He's not going to go far. Sam will always be a child. We don't expect anything from him. I felt bad for Sam and decided to try and change him. Of course, at first, felt like trying to teach a cat how to solve equations. Sam, why don't you clean up your room? He just threw more things on the floor. Look, this is the latest chaos design. Next, I tried to teach him how to cook. Let's fry eggs. He put half a bowl of sugar into the pan and said, the chefs will do a better job anyway. I wanted to bang my head on the table, but didn't give up. Sam wasn't my only problem at the time. Since I was now going to his school, I almost stopped seeing Bree. You completely forgot about me. Do you have a rich boyfriend now? Sam is not my boyfriend. He is a human disaster. My friend didn't believe me, and we had a huge fight. Things at home weren't any better. What have you been up to lately? You're never home. Well, I can't make any money sitting here, can I? I'm working to provide for us. You should get a job too, instead of whining about robots. The way he looked at me made my heart clench. Helen, you've changed. All you care about is money. I left and slammed the door because I didn't know what to say. Things weren't going smoothly at my new school either. My classmates found out that I was Sam's nanny and made fun of him for it. Hey Helen, it's time to change the baby's diapers. Sam, did she puree your soup or are you eating solid foods already? Someone also drew us on the smartboard. In the drawing, I was pushing a stroller with baby Sam sucking on a pacifier. Sam was furious when he saw it, but didn't say anything. One day, after gym class, our classmates decided to prank us and broke the locks in our lockers. We couldn't get our money or phones, so all we were left with was our sports uniforms. I'll try to open it. It won't work. While we were fighting with our lockers, the classes came to an end and everyone went home. It was raining so hard it felt like the world was coming to an end. Great, now we're stuck here until tomorrow. You want to stay at school at night? No way. We tried to leave, but all the doors had been locked. At that moment, I fell apart a bit. Dang it, why did I agree to this? You're whining like a kid. Come on, I've got an idea. Sam led me through some back rooms and we soon found a small open window. We walked home in the rain and got soaked through. Okay, the truth is, I've been acting like a child on purpose. What? I don't care what people think of me. My goal was to make my parents mad. It was like Sam turned into a different person, a normal guy who was serious and a bit angry. He admitted that he resented his parents because they were always busy and didn't care about him. The only way to get them to notice me is to throw endless tantrums. You could have told me. After that, Sam changed. He no longer put on any shows or threw tantrums around me. I could even say that we became friends. One day, Sam asked me for something. Helen, show me what your life's like. Oh, it's nothing interesting. Our apartment is tiny and my friends can only afford pizza. But he insisted and I had to agree. I brought him to my old school and introduced him to my former classmates. Sam enjoyed it. Mamma mia! Why is it so delicious? Are you serious? Then we came to my friend's party. Sam sat with us in the dirtiest cafe in the neighborhood, listened to our stupid jokes and laughed harder than anyone else. He loved it there. After that, I showed him the mall I used to work at. I want to try it. You want to work as a children's entertainer? Of course I do. Everyone will pay attention to me. Sam loved the simple things in life so much it got me thinking. I never paid attention to how much I had. I had a dad who loved me, even though he was mad at me at the moment. We had our nights where we played board games and ate canned beans. I had friends who didn't care if I was broke. That was what happiness was all about. I started to notice new things about Sam's mansion. The staff there were always smiling, but their eyes looked angry. The students at Sam's school turned out to be hypocrites too. When they thought I was rich, they tried to get close to me, but as soon as they found out I came from a poor family, they even stopped saying hello to me. Sam, on the other hand, fit into my world perfectly. He got along with my friends, hung out with them a lot, and even got a job as an entertainer at the mall. Funny, isn't it? But one day it all came to an end. That day, Sam's parents organized a huge reception at their mansion. They invited rich, important people. Everything was impeccable. Then, Sam got on a table. You are all insatiable. Nothing is ever enough for you. Real life is not about your cars or watches. I almost fell over. He talked for a long time. His parents were pale as ghosts. The guests were shocked. It was a huge scandal. Helen, this is all your fault. You're a bad influence on our son. You're fired. That's how my rich life fell apart in a single moment. Only a day ago, I had been sitting by the pool and eating sushi, and today I was back in my tiny room that had paint peeling off the walls. For a few days, I walked around in a daze. At first, I was ashamed of myself. Then I felt sad and finally calm. I spent more time at home again and Dad forgave me. You're still my daughter. I'm glad you're home. I got a job working as an entertainer at the shopping mall again. At first, it felt like I was going backwards, but then I realized I miss those kids. Their laughter and even their tantrums. Everything fell into place after that. Bree and I made up after I came up to her and apologized. We can watch our favorite rich bloggers again. How However, I had changed on the inside. I no longer believed that money guaranteed happiness. It was the simple things that brought me joy. Sam was the one who made me realize that. A couple of days later, someone knocked on our door. Hi, I'm rebelling, and I ran away from home. Can I stay with you? I hesitated. To be honest, I wanted to say no. I can pay, and I have nowhere else to go. Sam moved in with us and dragged me into new adventures. He had so many ideas. For example, I'd always wanted to go to an IMAX cinema but couldn't bring myself to buy the expensive tickets. Sam took an old projector and a bedsheet, brought them up to our roof and called our neighbors. We had an open-air screening, and it was 100 times better than any cinema experience. Everyone brought food, laughed, and discussed the movie. The atmosphere was amazing. Why is he here? You traded me for a billionaire again. I didn't want to fight and simply introduced her to Sam. To my surprise, Sam said he wanted to transfer to our school. Are you serious? There are no pools or delicacies there. That's even better. Of course, he needed his parents' permission first. Sam asked my dad to pretend to be his father. He even forged some papers. And it worked. He was accepted. Can you believe it? Sam quickly built rapport with my dad. They would hang out together and discuss business in the evenings. I hadn't seen my dad so animated in a while. After a couple of days, he even went to work. I looked at the two of them and didn't recognize them. Sam suddenly grew up. All he needed was a push, and he got it. Of course, it didn't last long. A few days later, Sam's parents showed up at our door. Son, come home. We can talk about this. They even tried to convince me to become his nanny again. I don't want to be rich anymore. And Sam is no longer a child. He's got this. I wasn't angry when I said that. Sam thanked me and returned home a changed man. I carried on with my life, except now I liked it. I was working as an entertainer and enjoying every moment. I liked the children, their laughter, simple joys like that. I even wondered if I wanted to be a teacher after graduating. Bree and I were hanging out again. Even though she still dreamed of being rich, I tried to explain to her that money wouldn't make her happy. You only say that because you haven't truly lived in the lap of luxury yet. Dad changed too. Now he worked instead of whining. I need to show what I'm capable of. Sam was still a part of my life. We stayed in touch. Sometimes he came over and sometimes we hang out with my friends. One day, he suddenly asked me out on a date. I no longer saw him as that kid who yelled at his parents in dinosaur pajamas. Now he looked like a guy I could imagine dating, so I said yes. The people and moments that make you happy are infinitely more important than money. Sam realized that being rich doesn't mean you can avoid growing up. Only having responsibilities makes people grow up.